Thank you. It's a brand new track with a singer from the Netherlands called Mr. Probz. The track is called Another You. And I swear to God, I never spent more time and money on one single song. And so I thought it would be fun when UAD asked me to do something here at the Messe to show this project, because it has a lot of universal audio plugins in it. It has a lot of complex routing, and it has, it's really the sound. I've never actually shown so much of our DNA in to a big crowd. So now and I really hope you can learn something from it and use it for your own benefit.
Okay, so the first thing we should do is we should listen to the song.
Yeah, a brief snippet from the track.
I'm not saying I'm not sorry. Just looking for another you. It's not getting any better. But what can I do when there's something wrong? When we keep holding up to the best days. I'm not saying I'm not sorry. Just looking for another you. Looking for another you. Just looking for another you. Another you. Just looking for another you.
That's the basic idea of the track. There's also a big second breakdown coming with a different chord. Thank you.
For me, I find it interesting to know that you're producing this kind of tracks that sound this way with tools that are available to everyone.
Absolutely.
So the two of you work together. Do you work on the same computer? How are you set up? How can you work together on the same song?
Well, we have two DAWs, and we could easily separate. One time he's doing an arrangement thing, another time I'm doing mixing, but the other way around goes too. And in that way we can do twice as much, which works great.
Okay, so you have two separate rooms?
No. We're in the same room because we like to vibe off each other.
Okay.
And then you also have no reason to go on internet or, you have to work
check
on
the mail.
music.
Yeah.
So you're actually forced to do that. And we're very good customers of UA Audio because we have
Twice of
we have
everything.
everything on both DAWs. So we have the same version of Logic with all the same UA stuff on two machines, which means that, for example, if I'm feeling like I want to arrange this track, and for arranging you don't really need to be behind the main. I can do arranging. I can do that on my headphones.
Yep.
So for some, we're working on my next album right now. We'll be working on 25 tracks at the same time. So he might be saying, I have an idea for this track because I just heard the demo in my car. I want to vibe on this. That's one of the reasons why I'm using a lot of Audio as well, because I want to be able to recall all my settings. If I have an idea for a track, I don't want to be waiting for hours to open a session. So now we can just open it on either two of the DAWs and start arranging or adding different ideas. And that's literally how we work.
And that's a very good way to work.
Yeah, or color coding. You see this track is nicely color coded.
Yes.
This is the result of, trust me, ladies and gentlemen, the results of months and months of battling in the studio, fighting with each other over which sound the clap should have. If you look at just the claps up top, we use for this particular clap, which is one clap sound, we use 6 claps. Just because it makes it sound extra fat and all that.
Which UA plugins do you find yourself using all the time?
Too many, but
Okay, you have a top 3. I have a top
Absolutely.
3. You have a top 3.
Well, we're addicted to the Shadow Hills.
That's nice.
For this track, the Shadow Hills compressor is on the master bus, and that sort of glues everything together.
in a very nice way, musical way.
This is the setting that we used on the master bus, just because this, I don't know, it does some magic. It's just essential for the track.
So this is a model, an exact model of an actual hardware box that you can purchase for a lot of money over there by a company called Shadow Hills. And the particularity of the hardware is they have different kinds of transformers. and the software that UA did actually models of those transformers, and that's what makes this box sounds very special. Is the transformers you have in there. What else you got?
On the vocal, well, we have a ridiculous chain on the vocal of Mr. Probz.
Okay.
That's just because he was very particular about how his voice should sound.
As you said, right?
I think can we go to the Some Vox bus?
Some Vox bus. How about you do it?
Yeah,
You know
that's
your
that
session,
one.
and there you go.
See, there's a few plugins that are not working. But as you can see, it's kind of a ridiculous bus. For UAD, we use, of course, the LA2, because this is just, I don't know, it's our bread and butter. We put it on almost every vocal.
It always works. It does what it needs to do, and it always adds something. We cannot describe what it is, but it just gives a little edge to it.
Do you use UA reverbs that you like?
Yeah, we've been using the Lexicon a lot.
Yeah.
That's
Especially
one of
for
our
the low end. We really like long verbs, and this one does it really, really well for us. It makes a dark atmosphere, which we really use a lot. I'm not sure if we did it for this track, but we make trance music as well, which is all about ambience and pads, and it does an amazing job on
You're
it.
talking about the 224,
the 224. Nothing really beats, in my opinion, nothing really beats the
it's
224.
quite fantastic. Do you use a lot of this guy here?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'll tell you a secret about this track. We on my previous album, Mirage, I did a track with I wanted to have a breakdown, a full rock breakdown. So I asked the band of my brother. He has a band called Bag of Bones, to have a halftime moment in the middle of a trance track, which was kind of a new thing, and we just couldn't make it blend. Remember, we were just crazy because. We went from trance to, we have a lot of strings recorded in that track as well, and we had the drums, real drums and everything grouped, and it just didn't sound right. And we just put the pool tech, UAD pool tech on, and we didn't even touch it.
Yeah.
It's just the default setting, and we were like,
That's the
remember
sound.
that moment?
I know.
So,
it's just like it adds something. You call it the magic.
Well, yeah, it's magic. It's my theory on it, because I think about this stuff a lot because I'm a geek.
Yeah.
Is that we've been listening to records that have been made for 60 years, and that music is in our brain.
Yeah.
And that music was made with certain equipment, and that sound is in our brain. And these plugins imitate the sound of that equipment, and that instantly feels good.
Yeah.
The 224 you love is because all those records that you love were made with that hardware reverb.
Probably.
And that makes you happy to hear again. And then you take it and you make something new with it. And that's the beauty of this stuff.
It's true, but I also think the circuitry of the pool tech, if you just run it through the circuitry, honest to God, I do believe in magic now.
There you go.
I do believe in magic. I know it's an algorithm emulating it, but it just saved our ass for that particular track. And if you take it off, it just takes off a spark, like not only in the highs or in the mid highs, but also in the mids and in the lows. It adds a spark. It's hard to explain.
How do you guys generate your sounds? I'm sure everybody's curious to know what's your sound sources. I know you use some raw material, then you treat it with UAD plugins, but how do you like to work? Do you use hardware synths? Do you use beatboxes? Do you use plugins? What do you do?
Well, we use a lot of soft synths. We come from the era of MIDI, so we know what it is to have real knobs, and when we're around here, we're also like, the knobs. You have to turn them. But for us, it's just so easy to have all the project loaded easily. And nowadays we have so many soft synths that we use, and we save all the settings that we like. So once in a while we're like, we need this kind of pad that we ran into 2 months ago, and then we can recall it with the settings that we had. That's also one of the reasons that we are using the UAD software so much, because we can actually recreate what we heard back then.
Yeah, the Manly Massive Passive is also, you have the standard EQ in Logic, which is pretty okay. It sounds pretty nice, but for this instance, I've used it on the piano.
This is on the Ivory.
Yeah, it just adds a transient to the piano, a nice pick, especially the piano that you hear in the track is actually 2 pianos. Because that's what a lot of people ask me, what is this? What is your sound, or how did you create a sound? The answer 9 times out of 10 is just stacking. Especially now with track stacks in Logic, it's so easy to create unique sounds by just stacking several sounds on top of each other. Another track that I dig that got the Grammy nomination, This Is What It Feels Like, has a lead, and it sounds like one lead. It's actually 12. And that's just because, and then on the group, we usually like to add something to glue it together or to bring the transients out even more, to make it sound nice and, because you want the lead to shine through. And
What happens next in the process of making a record like this? What do you do next?
well, the most important thing for us was to please Mr. Probz, because he was very particular about his voice. So we actually came to the studio after we went to the Wisseloord Studios in the Netherlands. He came to the studio about 3 times, and he took his own vocal engineer with him,
Okay.
and he was very, very particular about the bridge, how that had to sound, particularly on the delays of his voice.
So you did a lot of the arranging and production on a temp vocal, or on the original vocal. Then you felt it didn't work out. You needed more material. Went and recorded more vocals.
Yes.
Did all the work to match the vocals.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what?
And then we cleaned up the session. We like to do that together. We sit in the studio and we immediately, like I said, we color code everything. So when, in this case, Mr. Probz comes to the studio, we can quickly go to what his problem is. We first make the track the way that we like it, and we say, okay, we're happy about it. We turn it up. We're happy about it. Sometimes we play it for our wives. Do you like it? Do you like the arrangement? Yes. Then Mr. Probz comes in, and then we can, if he says, for example, oh, I want the delay to be a little bit louder, or I want to cut some of the low end on the tape delay or whatever. You can quickly go to the some vox, and quickly address the problem.
And so, did you mix this track yourself, or did you send it out to mix? So you mixed it yourselves.
Well, we did a mix, and we work with for this track we work with Joe Laporta from Sterling Mastering in New York. Because we really trust his ears, and the way he likes to work is that we send him all the stems of the track, so the separate parts, the kick drum, the bass line, the melodies, the voice. We send him everything, and then we do a bounce of the track with on the master bus all the plugins. One version with no limiting. See, this is what we do to actually limit the track. In the end, just for our own sake. This is not what actually is on the final master, but it's just
what you work with.
Yeah, we sometimes when you're working on a track, you want to hear how it sounds on radio or on a dance floor, so you just want to crank it up. And we really like the precision limiter and maximizer from UAD. I always like to use an extra set of ears, because even though we're probably the 2 most critical guys on the planet, it's always good if somebody with good, clean, professional, and who's never heard the track before can listen to it and just look at the sound characteristics. Who knows what radio really wants? I know that American radio likes to have the track sound in a specific way, and since this track is aimed a little bit at American radio, you send it to an American mastering engineer. If you know what I mean.
That sounds like a good plan to me.
Yeah.
You guys been paying attention? I can tell. So what I think would be really interesting right now is to listen to the whole song, so that you can now listen to the vocal sound, listen to the vocal sound of the first verse, listen to the vocal sound of the second verse. Pay attention to where the bass drum comes in and why, how heavy it is. Think about the job of the mastering guy who's supposed to make everything sound loud, but at one point there's a bass drum that comes that's twice as loud as everything else. How does one do that? So pay attention to all that stuff and all the really amazing arrangements that are going on, and then we'll say goodbye after that.
I'm not sorry. Just looking for another you. It's not getting any better. But what can I do when there's something wrong? When we keep holding up to the best days. I'm not saying I'm not sorry. Just looking for another you.
That's it.
Armin van Buuren, Benno.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.